here we go. 7.2 covers rational exponents. Now remember how I said that a square root turns a half power. Well, I mean, square root of x to the 1, we'll call it x to the 1/2 power. Square root of x, cube root of x, we'll call that a 1/3 power because it takes 1/3 powers. And nth root, we'll call it x to the 1/n power. So we can define reciprocal exponents. So x to the 2/2 is x to the half square. Square root is x. Similarly, how x to the 3/2 squared, x to the 4/2 is x, and so on. Now, we'll define x to a rational power, m over n, as, well, I can think of it as an mth power of an nth root, or an nth root of an mth power. It comes to the same thing. So, for instance, 64 to the 1/2 power. Well, 64 is 8 squared. And 8 squared half power, 2 times a half is 1, 8 to the first, or 8. 64 to the 1/3 power. Well, 64 is a, let's see, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. It's the sixth power of 2. So it's a third power of 4. 4 to the third, to the 3 to the third. These cancel, leaves a 4. Here's 64 to the 2/3 power. We can write this as a cube root squared. Cube root we already got was 4, so 4 squared, therefore 16. 64 to the 3/2 power, that'll be the square root cubed. Grab with the square root is 8, get 8 cubed, that's 512. Oh, by the way, before I go on, there's a little trick I learned long ago. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024. Just memorize the powers of 2. It comes in handy from time to time. I also find it mildly amusing that 2 to the 7th power is 128. That's because I grew up in the Boston area, and the semicircular highway around Boston, not circular, of course, because of the Atlantic Ocean, but that is called Route 128, and it's to Boston the way Silicon Valley is to here. So I find it mildly amusing that it's all those nerdy companies are on Route 2 to the 7th power. Okay, never mind. Okay. All right. Now, the usual laws of exponents still apply for fractional exponents. You multiply powers, you add the exponents, even when these are fractions. Divide powers, you subtract the exponents. You have a product to a power is a power of products. Have a power of a power, it's a product power. And a negative power, it's reciprocal. So all the rules we had before still apply. That's actually, we define, the idea actually is to define the fractional exponents in a way that this still applies. So it works, and you can use the same arithmetic as before. So okay, 1/5 power of 32. Well, 32 is a fifth power of 2. So this will be 2 to the 5/5, 2 to the 1, or 2. Negative 216 to the 1/3 power. Well, negative 216 is negative 6 cubed. To 1/3 power, they cancel, leaves a negative 6. 4x to the 4th to the half power. Well, 4 is 2 squared. X to the 4th is x squared squared. The second power and the half power cancel, leaves behind 2x squared. Negative 27 n to the 9th, all to the 1/3 power. Well, negative 27 is negative 3 cubed. N to the 9th is n cubed cubed, because 3 times 3 is 9. A third power and a 1/3 power cancel, leaving this, negative 3n cubed. Here's negative 8, x to the 6th, y to the 3rd, to the 2/3 power. Okay, now, negative 8 is negative 2 cubed. X to the 6th is x squared cubed. Y to the 3rd is y cubed. And let's see. All right. One simple way to do it is simply multiply it out. 3 times 2/3 is a second power, so you get this. Negative 2x squared y, all squared. Multiply, square it out. Negative 2 squared is 4. X to the second squared is x to the 4th. And y squared is y squared. you get 4x to the fourth y squared. (81) x to the fourth y to the eighth to the 3/4 power. All right, well, let's say cube of a fourth root. Okay, fourth root of 81 is 3. Fourth root of x to the fourth is x to the 4 fourths, or x. Fourth root of y to the eighth is y to the 8 fourths, or y squared. So 3xy squared, all cubed. 3 cubed is 27. X cubed is x cubed. Y squared cubed is y to the 2 times 3 is 6. So 27, x to the third, y to the sixth. Here we have a to the half, b to the third, all to the 3 halves. What's that? We'll use the law of exponents, which says that exponents can distribute over a product. So get a to the half to the 3 halves, b to the third to the 3 halves. Then repeated exponents multiply. A to the half times 3 halves, b to the third times 3 halves. This multiplies out to 3/4. This multiplies out to 1/2. So a to the 3/4, b to the 1/2 is the answer. You have a to the 3/4, a to the 3/4 over a to the half. And we use the law of exponents, where multiplying means you add exponents and dividing means you subtract the exponent. So you get a to the power 3/4 plus 3/4 minus 1/2. And okay, run it out, and it's first power, so a to the first power, and that's just a. Here you have 135 A, B, C, and D. One of these look-alike problems. And we're putting a negative sign in the exponent, negative sign outside. Okay. 64 a to the fourth to the half is what? Well, square root of 64, a to the 4 halves, that's 8a cubed. Now, jumping to D, minus, I'll say minus all this to C. It'll be the same, along with a minus in front, minus 8a squared, like this. Here I have 64a to the fourth to the negative 1/2. Well, a negative power means the reciprocal to a positive power. We already have 64a to the fourth. The half is 8a squared, so this becomes 1 over 8a squared. And finally this, you put a negative outside and a negative in the exponent. Do both things, you get this negative, so it's negative 1 over 8a squared. Okay. Looks like we're done.